Okay, good evening, everyone. You are listening to the Raising Independent Thinkers show on Hindsight Radio. I hope that everyone is doing well, staying healthy, and feeling blessed. I am your host, Bathsheba, and along with me is Akeem L, who will be co-hosting with me on this evening. Hi, Akeem. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Okay, good. So we're broadcasting on Blog Talk as well as live on YouTube. Um I'm hearing an echo, Akeem. I forgot. What do I need to do to stop the echo?
I don't. It must be. Oh, your blog talk is messing with you. That's the issue.
Okay.
Ron still
I,
says, "How are we?" Uh, so what you do is, I
do
don't
I
know.
just turn down?
Um, yeah, you can turn down your blog talk volume,
Okay.
your computer volume. Turn
My
it down.
computer volume. Okay, I'll try that.
Well, then
Okay,
you won't really hear
hopefully.
me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're good.
Okay, that's much better.
No
Um,
echo? Okay.
no. Well, there's slightly an echo, but it's okay.
All right.
So
Well,
if
this what we'll do. Everybody transition who's on live or blocked or transition over to YouTube. I'll put the link in the chat. That'll make it easy
okay.
because I can't troubleshoot from over here.
Okay.
But go ahead, continue.
So if you want to call in and join in on the conversation, please call the number 563 and hit the number 1. Or you can find us live on Akeem L's channel on YouTube. That's AKIEMEL.
Yeah, the YouTube. I'm putting the link in the chat right now.
Okay. Okay, so this week has been good for both of us. I know you just
Yeah.
had a webinar on yesterday and that went well. Did you want to say anything about how that went?
Oh, that went well. It was a full house. Actually, it was sold out. I added an extra couple extra seats so people could get in. Very good webinar. I didn't tell everybody. Well, it was a driver's license webinar, um, showing you how to process in your nationality with the DMV. But what I didn't say I would do, I didn't preview it because I didn't want all of the spies and the haters to know what I was actually doing. I actually included the injunction in there on how to do that process incorporated
Okay.
into the driver's license process. So that is on that video. It will be up tonight for sale along with the templates. It's 3 templates. One for the commissioner of the DMV, one for the sheriff, and one for the DMV itself. Someone said,
Okay.
"Not hearing you well, muffled." Is that me?
Hmm.
Hang on. They said they're not hearing me well.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
I wonder if they hear me well.
Nah, it's Blog Talk that's probably having the problem.
Okay.
Blog Talk, and I'll just redo the video like I did last week through audio. So if y'all want to get on the the oh the YouTube, that'll be better. Which is the link is in the chat. So
Well, it sounded like you added more information,
way
and
more,
I'm sure
way more
those who
information.
attended appreciated the
Yeah.
knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
information that you shared.
Right.
So this week, we also found out that my daughter was accepted. Well, she accepted an offer to the New York Film Academy in LA, where she
Mm-hmm.
wants to study and experience learning about the film industry. And I'm excited for her and looking forward to supporting her in her journey. It's a 1-year conservatory, and I'm very proud of her because, for the most part, when she puts her mind to something, she's very persistent and goes after it. So I'll be
Yeah.
updating you all on that whole
Nobody.
process.
Yeah. So that's good for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she was going to
Um,
get. She visualized it just like Reverend IT,
yeah.
and she got it. So
Yeah,
she
she
only
kept
applied it
saying it
one
every
place,
day. That was the
and
only
she
place she
got it.
wanted to
That's how we
go.
get things.
Right.
Is by visualizing it.
Right.
Go for what you want.
Yep.
So,
So today I wanted to talk about several topics. The show is titled Great Things Take Time. So I'll touch on that. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about the whole Dr. Seuss story, and then continue on discussing about ancient civilizations in the book that I'm reading, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro.
right.
So for this entire week, I kept hearing different conversations and realizing how easy it is for us to become like unmotivated, unfocused, and just easily distracted in all areas of life, especially when it comes to parenting. Many of us went through moments when we were excited about being a parent at one time, or excited about starting a new job or relationship. I remember I used to just stare at my children when they were infants for long periods of time, just in amazement that they came from me. And just thinking about how blessed I am as a mother to be their mother. And then time goes by, right? And that newness wears off. And what we first loved starts then become work. So, as parents, that means getting up every morning. If you have young children, helping them get dressed, making meals, assisting them with school, whether they're going to school or you're homeschooling. And even if your child is fairly independent, as parents, we still have the responsibility in keeping them safe and making sure they have the basics. So, it's similar for those who start a new career, and as time goes by, and the work or the people that you're working with starts feeling like a burden. And you can easily start feeling unmotivated. And I'm bringing this up because I've been there, throughout many times in my life. So a few years after I started teaching, I started to rethink my position as a classroom teacher. And I started allowing people to distract me and discourage me from teaching in the classroom because of their just lack of respect and lack of just basic grace and courtesy. And I wanted to quit many times and start something completely different. And the only reason why I decided to stay in the field is because I knew deep down that I'm good at what I do. I knew my purpose was to educate. And I realized that knowing your purpose really gives you meaning to life. Um, and over the years, I've had to readjust, you know, the work that I'm doing. And now I'm learning how to educate adults, but I'm still in that field of teaching. Um, and I think also being a mother gives me purpose. I know I was meant to be a mother to the two children that I have. And of course, there's many times that I'm exhausted. I didn't always want to be present. But as time went on, I realized that great things take time. And sometimes we need to refocus, reset, and readjust to help us concentrate and bring us back to just having that motivation that we had in the first place. Um, so I didn't tell you this, Akeem, but I spoke to my brother today, and he suffered a huge loss in losing his youngest child. His youngest child passed away,
Right.
which is the ultimate loss. And he said to me that he needs to readjust his life because his life is no longer the same. And I get that. And as parents, or just as people in general, we go through different changes in our life. And we need to be mindful that in order to have successful longevity, we need to sometimes readjust or just rethink about how we're doing things in life. And there's a quote that I read that says, endurance is not just the ability to bear a hard thing, but to turn it into glory.
Right.
And I thought that was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and another thing I wanted to mention is that I think because of technology, we have, become the society of instant gratification, and it's getting more difficult to just wait on things.
Right.
No one wants to go through the process anymore, and they just want to, um, they want to cut the chase. And parents want their children to walk before they start crawling. And I think there's a real danger to that
Mm-hmm.
because I think we need to go through the process.
Right.
So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say
Yeah.
about that.
Well, with your brother,
Mhm,
been what a little over a month, I think, since that happened. Uh,
mhm.
so now is the time where he has a lot of time to reflect. You know,
Right,
the,
right,
the raw feelings are starting to come out. The reality of what took place is starting to
right,
come back. And it's not; those are one of those things you will never ever get over, but you get used to it. You get used to that loss, but you don't get over it because
mhm,
whenever you lose someone, it's tough, especially in the beginning, and then periodically throughout your life, it's tough, and you start asking questions like why this and why that, and you can't answer those questions. A lot of those
right,
questions you'll never get the answer to. Uh, so yeah, but but you could turn it into use it as a moment to learn and to adjust and become a better person. And
right,
actually, those are times where you just value the people that are in your life that you still can communicate with. We take those things for granted. Oh, I'll call them tomorrow. You put things off, and then one day that might not happen. It
right,
may never happen again. Just when you think about somebody, you need to pick that phone up and make that phone call because you never know. Because if you're thinking about something, I notice when I think about people and I call it, oh man, I was just thinking about you.
mhm,
It's definitely something to that. There's an energy to that that's coming out, making that connection. So a lot of times we just casually think about somebody, then put it off and put it off and put it off. But it's a good idea to make that phone call because I experienced that years ago.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know I need to call him more often. I need to just call people in general more often. I'm not very good about that.
now one thing about doing that is don't get upset when people don't call you like you call them to check on them
Oh, yeah.
because people
Yeah,
won't
that's true.
do you. You call them, and then sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, I'll call you back," and they never call back. But you did your part. That's all that matters. You know.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So.
All right. Well, I'm going to end on that note about that, and hopefully that message encouraged someone out there.
Right.
So again, if you want to join in on the conversation, please call in 563-999-3615 and hit the number 1. If you are a parent that needs support on homeschooling, um, you're looking for the right curriculum, you don't know where to start, or needing help understanding homeschooling laws in your state, please go visit my website, home-schoolguide.com, and schedule a consultation. Also, if you're just dealing with some of these public schools and you have a concern and you need an advocate to support you, I am available for consulting.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just wanted to touch a little bit I see you put the ancient civilizations up there, Akeem. But I wanted to touch a little bit on that whole Dr. Seuss story real quick,
Okay. All right. We can
just
hold.
because I find it interesting and want to hear some of your thoughts if you have thoughts about it. So the story is that the company, which is the Dr. Seuss Enterprises, decided to stop publishing 6 of the Dr. Seuss books.
Mhm.
And this happened on March the 2nd, which is Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Right.
And Dr. Seuss actually published 60 books. I just found that out today. I didn't know how many books he published, but only 6 of those books out of his collection were banned, or they're no longer being published.
Right.
And it's interesting because on social media, you would think they canceled all of his books, but that's not true.
Right. Like they were accusing him of some type, but it was I didn't know what to make of it. It was like a Dr.
Right.
Seuss what? I love the Dr. Seuss series.
Right.
I didn't have a problem with it. I was just trying to think what were they talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there were 6 books. And now I've only read one of those books out of the 6 books, and that one was called If I Ran a Zoo.
Okay.
And that book is basically about a man visiting a zoo, and he discovered animals that he felt were not good enough.
Right.
And there's images in the book of a man holding a gun on the top of his head. Oh, well, he's holding a gun on top of the heads of 3 Asian men. And
Oh.
then there's a line in the book that says all of the helpers wear their eyes at a slant. And there's some other inappropriate images. And I think that like corporations now are having more honest conversations about imagery, which is a good thing.
When was that? When was that written? That
I believe it was written like in the 1930s, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look that up, but I believe it was like in the 1930s. So it was written a long time ago.
way back when, I don't know if it was exactly that time. This country did have a thing against Asians. That they were the ones. They didn't want. They would. Know how it is with immigrants from Mexico.
Right.
That's how it was for them back then, way back when. I'm not sure if that. I think it was a lot earlier than 1930. But this country had the so-called founding fathers always had it against some group of people at some point in time. So
Right. Let me look that up, this
according to
book,
the
and see when it was published, because yeah, it was around, I believe it was before the 50s.
Mhm. Yeah, this country is notorious for uh racist imagery.
Right.
We can't hide that. That's and at times they still do it. One thing about the Dr. Seuss brand, they did take the initiative to. They're the ones who I think initiated that. If I'm correct on that, removing those books.
They are. Yeah, it was the actual corporation
Right.
that initiated it.
I guess that's a good thing that they took. No one had to bring it to their attention, but I think someone brought it to their attention, maybe within the organization, and then they decided to pull it. I don't know. We weren't there, but they're pulling it. So
Right.
the books. I never heard of that book. I don't remember. I remember Cat in the Hat. The who was a who, something like it was different ones, but I don't remember those that particular book.
Right. So, okay, I was wrong actually. So that particular book, If I Ran the Zoo, was published in 1950.
1950. Okay.
Yes.
That wasn't that long ago.
Right. That wasn't that long ago. And, I mean, this is only one example. There's plenty of examples where we see, even in textbooks, that have.
Just history, how they teach history in school today is white supremacist ideals. They teach history from an invention that only the white male created anything. They're the inventors of all things. If you were to just study what you're given in the curriculum, when I came up in school, Indians was taught to be savages. They were
Right.
scalpers. That's all. That's the only image I had of an Indian. I didn't know
Right.
Indians, who the Indians really were. In the whole history is one big lie. So if they want to start pulling stuff, they need to start pulling them history books from school.
Mm.
Just totally get rid of everything they've been teaching as far as history.
Well, I'm glad that they did take responsibility, and I'm hoping that this is the beginning of
Mm,
other corporations seeing it. And I guess the question is, do you think negative imagery affects children?
of course.
And, of course it does.
Mm.
I mean, even when you look at some of the cartoons, like Looney Tunes cartoons, Bugs Bunny,
Racist.
Bugs Bunny has come a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one
Gabby the
cartoon
Pepper. Yeah.
where Bugs Bunny, he was the, I don't know if you've seen this one, Akeem. He was the ice cream truck man, and he was calling the kids like monkey face, slant eyes. It
Mm-mm.
was an old Bugs Bunny cartoon. And it's interesting because as a kid, you don't really think about all the adult references in the cartoons. You just learn
Well,
to accept it.
you're not taught, so you just looking. Oh, this is a cartoon. You're looking at something.
Right.
It's fantasy, and you're being obliterated with racist imagery. Now that I'm adult and they're showing it, I remember the Tasmanian Devil. That's a mockery of the Aboriginal people of Australia.
Right. Right.
You know.
But as a kid, you don't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about that, and you just learn to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the main purpose,
Mm-hmm.
was for us to just accept it.
Right.
But
Well, that was miseducators. We accepted. We accepted our own oppression. We fed ourselves. We bought televisions, and we fed ourselves the poison mentally. And this is
right.
why we're having issues today getting along with each other. We have been programmed to fight each other. You know.
Right. You're right. You're right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think this generation is extremely aware of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like the younger generation, they're very aware, and um they're speaking out, I feel like, more than, when we were younger.
Yeah. Well, I think they're speaking out, but are they speaking out on the right subjects?
Mm.
Because I think there's some that are aware and that's awake, but then I see they're speaking out, but the subjects that they're speaking out don't seem like it's going to help us in our progress.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what topics do you think they should speak out on?
Truth. What is the truth? Knowing the truth about history, who did what, when they did it. When
Mhm.
I understand that the very Constitution that we have in this country was adopted or created off of what they call the Native Americans. Comes from that document. That's known in the congressional records, but they don't publish that through mainstream media or through secular education. They don't talk about that. And that
Right.
needs to be talked about. Okay, you have a constitution that everyone takes an oath to, but no one knows that document actually came from the Great Law of Peace. That's how
Mm.
they framed it. Although they did a remix and they took some stuff out and it made it more of a patriarchal document.
Mhm.
Great Law of Peace had a balance of power, male and female, in it, whereas the Constitution doesn't. You know,
Right.
but those are stories that should be told. Because once people say, wait a minute, we got this, was founded off of this, then that makes them look deeper. Say, well, okay, so these people weren't savages. These weren't primitive people that we were dealing with
Right.
back then. They were actually a little more advanced than the people that came here because they had a government and a system already in place that was thriving. Did they have their problems and wars and stuff that they went through? Yes. But they learned from those wars, and that's how they came up with the Great Law of Peace, so that they can bring peace amongst the tribes. And they said, well, if you want peace amongst your colonies, you need to do what we did. And so they came in and they met, and the stuff down, the brotherly love of Philadelphia and all that comes from the Native Americans, the Aboriginal people here.
Right.
All of that.
I know you've been talking a lot about the Great Law of Peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Great Law of Peace.
Right. That's the Constitution for the Iroquois Confederation. Federation.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of people don't know about.
Right.
Never learned about. So.
No. They make it like these guys were so brilliant that they're the only ones. They came up with this great document. It was an original idea, and it wasn't an original idea. They were totally in chaos until they met with the natives and got their stuff together.
Right.
You see? But they what they did was they got it, and then they totally cut them off. Like as if they didn't exist, and then they started making movies, making the Indians look like they were uneducated and uncivilized.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, again, if you want to join in on the conversation, you can call in 563-999-3615 and hit the number 1. I find it interesting that, some people were upset and angry about this whole thing. Like,
people are going to be upset about anything. They'll find anything to be upset about. Can't please everybody.
Right.
Why you can't
That's true.
Stuff. Right.
That is true. Okay, well, we can get into our book. If you want to pull it up.
I'll share the screen. Okay.
And this is the book 101 Amazing Facts, excuse me, about the Negro. And the author is J.A. Rogers. And last week we touched a little bit on religion, but I wanted to discuss ancient civilizations. So we'll start with number 10, learning about the Grimaldi people. So, that's hard to see, Akeem. Let me pull it up.
Big.
And I can.
Let me go to the, I'm sorry.
I think it's okay.
Hold on. I went too far. I was just trying to make it bigger. Can you see it now?
It's okay. It's just a little small for me because my screen is minimized, but it's okay. I can read it.
Oh, a little bigger. How's that? Better?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll go ahead and read what it says here. It says the Grimaldi, a Negro race, lived in Europe as late as 12,000 years ago. 2 complete Grimaldi skeletons are in the Museum of Monaco near Monte Carlo. Abundant race traces of their culture have been unearthed in southern and central Europe. So we know Monaco is located in Europe. So the Grimaldi people were basically the original people of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And this was something new for me. Something that I was never taught.
12,000 years ago.
Right.
But according to the religious scholars, the mankind has only been around for like 6,000 years. That's, religious people, that's what they say. But now it's changing because they keep finding these remains that are dating way back when, but
Right.
I was coming up, oh, it's 6,000 years according to the religious, but then scientists were saying something different, you know, but they're saying 12,000 years ago.
Hmm.
But the European, as we know it, fair skinned white, what we call white, their history is back 6,000 years.
Hmm.
Ours goes back way further
Way
than that.
before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because when you're looking and you're finding stuff, all of the stuff that you find in museums are from people of color, lands of people, Egypt, India, Brazil, they're from people of color. You don't see anything in museums pretty much from Europeans, other than if you go to London, you'll see some of their stuff,
Right.
in their places, in their little museum. But around the world, when you go to big museums like the Museum of Natural History, the whole museum is filled with nothing but people of color
That's right.
history. So when you got to look at reality, people are looking at what people saying on the news and these history books, but in reality, the proof of what's been going on is they're showing it right there in front of you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we teach our children the truth of history, whether you're black, white, it's important for our children to know the truth. So I looked up more information about the Grimaldi people,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just read what I found. It says the Grimaldi were black Africans with very little body hair, black and smooth skin. They had the facial features typical of West African forest dwellers. They had kinky hair, and they arrived in Europe 40,000 to 50,000 years ago. They
Mm-hmm.
ranged in height from tall to medium. Their culture had developed in Africa tens of thousands of years before they moved to Europe. It was called the Arugnician. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's spelled Arugnician, Arugnician culture. In 1994, scientists found um, corroborating evidence of stone and bone tools on the banks of the Sim-like River in Zaire. They were finely crafted tools made between 75,000 to 100,000 years old, long before modern humans migrated to Europe. Yeah, and it goes on to talk about the Neanderthals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's very interesting, the Grimaldi, and I looked at the actual bones that were found
Mm-hmm.
that are in a museum in Europe,
Right.
and they said that the bones were a little different than the way our bones look now. I mean, this was 40,000 years ago.
Right.
So
Okay.
I wish I could see what they look like. I wonder,
Going on about Neanderthal and all of that because they just done some test. Well, not just they did. Scientists from Asia actually did
Mhm.
the test and said that people of color are the only, people from the darker people of color like Africa and things are the only ones without the Neanderthal strain in their DNA.
But okay.
They don't have that. All others do have it. Yeah, it's a scientist from Asia who discovered that. But you'll not hear that on mainstream media.
No, you
I
won't.
want to talk about that. I mean, really, when you got shows like Ancient Aliens, they're always in lands where the people are dark, looking at these megalithic structures and wondering how they did it. But they always credited, oh, it had to be aliens because these people weren't sophisticated enough. But coincidentally, it's white males making those statements.
Hmm.
You never hear the people from that area making those claims that some aliens did it. Then you know
Right.
that's white supremacy right there. Mindsets. You can't believe you weren't there. You didn't see
Mhm.
it being built. So how do you know that these people weren't sophisticated enough to do this? See, this is the whole white supremacy racist ideal that they have to take everybody but themselves and make them look like lower forms of intelligence. But the only place you see these sophisticated structures are in lands where people of color live.
Right.
They're not in Europe. The aliens,
Right.
so the aliens must have been racist. They didn't like Europeans, so they just went to all of the dark races and built these megalithic structures, these wonders of the world. But they never went to their land. Only thing they have is that they can say, and I don't think it's theirs, is the Stonehenge. That's it. That's all they have. That's fact. Everything else is in lands where people of color lived and flourished. But whenever they're going around and they're talking about their alien theories, oh, it had to be aliens because these people weren't sophisticated. How do you know? The thought of saying that you're not sophisticated enough because you're making that statement. You weren't there.
Right.
You say
Right.
these things like it's a fact. The fact is this: those things were built, and the people that lived and flourished and ran those areas were people of color,
Hmm.
dark people. Okay, they weren't fair-skinned people. So wait a minute, you see that even that's racist. I'm taking it all back to the Cat in the Hat. You know how they have these perceptions of everybody else as being lesser than they are.
Mhm.
You know, and when you think less of people, that means you're less. When you have these ideas about people thinking that they don't, you know, they're inferior, then you're inferior just for having that thought. Because what you're
Mhm.
doing is you're underestimating people and their intelligence. And you're saying it with facts that you can't prove it with because you
Right.
were not there. You
There.
know
Right.
how those people communicated and what they did in their daily life. It's all guesswork.
Right. Now you mentioned the Stonehenge.
Hinge, yeah.
Stonehenge. I was looking that up,
Mm-hmm.
and it said that it was created by people who left no written records.
Right. No, they left records. They just telling you that because that's another one that you can attribute to people of color. Now you just read the Grimaldi. Let's go back to what you just read 12,000 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Right? That was in Europe.
Right.
Where's Stonehenge?
You said where?
Yeah, where is Stonehenge?
Oh. Was that in Europe as well?
Look it up. I don't make guesswork. I look it up. See where okay.
Okay. Stonehenge is located. It says Salisbury Plain. Salisbury Plain,
Okay.
Wiltshire, England.
Okay. Okay, right?
So,
Right. Okay. Now you just read Grimaldi 12,000 years ago. Then you read something else that they date back how far?
oh my God, this is
Like 46,000 years ago?
yeah, I mean, it says 7 DE. I don't know what that
Right.
is.
Okay. All right. So, and I'll put how Stone Age is. See, I'm just doing how is estimated.
Prehistoric.
It's saying that the Stonehenge is older than the pyramids.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And
Now,
right. And it's
go.
located in the UK.
Uh huh. Look, right in number 11, it says Elam, a mighty Negro civilization of Persia, flourished about 2900 BC and is perhaps older than Egypt or Ethiopia.
Older than Egypt or
It- it-
Ethiopia.
right. One of the
Wow.
later. So what I'm saying is, even Stonehenge most likely is not a European structure.
Hmm.
Okay. Like it doesn't come from fair skin. It comes from another thing that you can credit to people of color.
Mm.
When you start,
Wow.
you go through this book and you show how these civilizations, just because we traverse the planet way before any other group of people,
Right.
and shared knowledge along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, is there more information on the Grimaldi?
it probably is, but I haven't really researched that
Well,
extent.
in the book, like, are you able to
I don't
go?
remember. Oh,
It's
let's
number
look.
10.
I haven't seen anything else. Well, this
Okay.
book, you go to the back of the book, it gives you
A more
more depth
descriptive. Yeah.
on each one of these that we're reading, summarizing here.
Right. Okay. So it doesn't say anything else about the Grimaldi.
I think it does. It just got to go find it in the back of the book.
Okay. Let me
I
see
hope
if
you
I
have
can
time to
find
do
it.
that. You know, don't
Mm.
you have to go way, because I was actually reading this book the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just, I like when I read stuff, I just don't like how they generalize it here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Right.
Um, I like to go find the sources and read that,
Right.
because that gives you more information.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't.
It
It doesn't
doesn't.
give you any more information about the Grimaldi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm,
But I mean, all of you that are listening, if you didn't know about the Grimaldi, look it up for yourself. I know I'm going to be doing some research on it this week, and just finding ways on how we can teach our children this information.
mhm.
Okay, I'm looking at the comments. Someone said, "Always stay positive with the message." Yeah, I think we both, me and Akeem, try to stay positive with our messages.
Yes.
Um, and then somebody wrote, "You from the city, aka NOLA." I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Hold on.
NOLA. Not sure what that means.
Nope, I don't know.
Oh, right. Was there anything else, Akeem, that you wanted to talk about?
Not really,
It's
other than
almost 8
uh,
o'clock.
the webinar will be ready
Okay.
later on today. I'll put it up on the website, akimel.com. Uh, just the other shows that we have coming up. Bun Bay show is on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. My show is 7 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, it's Divine Connection show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then back to you, 7 p.m.
Every Sunday, 7
every
p.m.
Sunday. Yeah.
Okay,
Good
Akeem.
information about history. We really need to dig into this history and start exposing the truth about us, because we got enough negative what negative information
Mm-hmm.
um, against us. So we got to put out the positive information. Let them know that we weren't primitive people. We're not. We're very sophisticated. That's why everybody builds stores in our neighborhood to sell to us. they know everybody builds their business around us, because we'll do business with anybody. you know we'll t- and once we realize, without us, the world don't turn.
Hmm.
The commerce world do not turn without our dollars. That's a fact. you know so we have a lot of power in our dollars.
That's definitely true.
We just got to spend it wisely. All right, I'm done. Good show.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a good show too.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Did you want to end it out with some
Oh,
music.
we got to do our station call.
I hope you all stay blessed. Have a wonderful week.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent
And peace.
Information Station.
Peace, everyone.
Nation.
All right, everybody. Till next time.